Okay, let's go. Man!
This is new.
A sound like knives in my ears. My head feels like someone stuck their claws in my brain and shook as hard as they could. Clenched my teeth until it passes. Then when the pain eventually subsided, I noticed Kurzu's face right next to mine.
What's wrong? Are you okay?
A cell phone in my right hand. The sun in the sky to the west. The hands on my watch point to 4:40. Time leap successful.
What?
Don't worry about it. I'll have to tell her all about time leaps eventually. But right now I need to get a grasp on my surroundings. Turn to Kurzu and ask, what are we doing right now?
Huh?
You're probably really confused, but just tell me without any questions. I'll explain everything later, so please. Kurzu narrows her eyes in suspicion. Then realization dawns on her face, and she looks directly at me.
This is bad. We can't be standing around here like this. Let's go.
Go where?
To follow Mayuri, of course.
Wait, did we even explain to her?
We didn't. But by this time, we already left to do that, right? We sent an email.
Right, I guess, okay, yeah. Kurzu runs down the street. Look beyond her to see Mayuri's tiny back slowly... Oh, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Slowly moving into the distance. That's one mystery solved. Apparently Kurzu and I were following Mayuri. Rushed to keep stride with Kurzu. You received the D-mail, right? The one that said, Tail Mayuri, perpetrator must be caught?
I did, but why are you asking me now?
We keep moving as we talk, looking straight forward, trying not to lose sight of Mayuri. What time did the D-mail arrive?
3:24, right when I was out shopping with Daru.
And where is he?
I told you, I left the rest of the shopping to him and came back to the lab myself. Hey, what's with this conversation? Are you making fun of me?
I promised I'd tell you everything later, right? So what happened later? Did you show me the message?
Mayuri too.
What did you say? I couldn't help but stop. But Kurzu kept going. Immediately ran after her and asked, why'd you tell Mayuri? Now there's no point in following her.
You were the one that said we should, were you not?
Was I?
Mayuri's ability to hide her presence and disappear is uncanny. Thus, there's a chance that we will lose her even if we tail her closely. It's best if we inform her of our plan. Besides, how would she take precautions against her imminent kidnapping if we didn't warn her? That's what you said.
Naturally, I had no recollection of ever saying this, but it certainly sounded like something that I would say. So Mayuri is aware that we're following her.
Does that look like someone who's unaware?
Mayuri stops walking with an exaggerated stretch, turning around to look at us. Confirming that we were still here, she placed her hand at her side, sneakily waved at us, and turned back to start walking again. Sheesh.
Sneaking, doing espionage.
You don't have to sing it. All right.
I did tell her to just act normal, but...
Well, in a way that is normal for her, so...
So, can you tell me now? Why are you pretending to have amnesia?
Many times I've explained the same thing. If I included all the other world lines, it would be impossible to count. But I have the hang of it now that I've done it so many times. I know just how to make Kurzu understand as quickly as possible. That said, as quickly as possible still takes quite a while if I start from the beginning. Having explained everything, the world around me would be dyed a deep crimson. And I sneeze. Up. Yep. All this does is get them away from the lab for long enough.
Yeah.
So she can do something else. Doesn't seem our perpetrator is going to show up.
We've been keeping an eye out for over an hour now, but the only person we've seen was a young man handing out tissues.
Pretty bad when she doesn't even get stopped by a maid cafe scout. Kurzu had apparently asked Mayuri to wander around Akiba without any particular destination in mind.
Also known as Tuesday for me.
Why Tuesday? You know what? Mayuri did as she was told, wandering all over town.
I usually take my Tuesdays on a Friday.
What? Kurzu and I maintained our distance, but continued to follow after her. Is this how Taquito Tuesday never falls on a Tuesday?
Hey, just for clarity, X equals the black hooded men is an accurate assessment, correct?
I don't think so. Kurisu asks as we move. Yeah, they showed up in the lab in world line number 3. I continued. But if they're watching for the right moment to capture Mayuri, they probably won't be dressed like that. They'd look too conspicuous.
Besides, would they even have the audacity to kidnap her in a crowded place like this?
The very moment Kurisu expressed her doubts, a dark shadow crossed the road in the distance. At the time we realized that Mayuri had disappeared. What? I was dumbfounded.
Let's go, Okabe.
Kurisu's sharp voice strikes my eardrums. God damn it! I break out running, my feet pounding the asphalt. It's the fucking cosplay, brother. We turned into an alley to see a black shadow running along, pulling Mayuri's hand. A black hood. You've got some nerve, you son of a bitch. You think you can whisk Mayuri away in public while it's still light out? All while wearing such a conspicuous outfit. Don't screw with me! I sped up and ran as fast as I could toward the black hood. Little by little, I closed the distance. I've already passed Kurisu, and now she's behind me. She yells.
Stop!
That's hardly enough to stop the black hood. He won't even turn around. Continues to run toward the distance, pulling Mayuri along. And then suddenly, both of them disappear. They reached the end of the road and turned right at the corner. Take the same turn. Onto Chuodori. The sidewalk packed with people. I look down the street, I see the black hood of Mayuri weaving through the crowd, maneuver through the crowd, and follow myself. Bumped shoulders with some people, but I didn't care. At this rate, Mayuri will be taken away. The plan will fail, the worst will happen. I chased after the black hood with all my might, pushing those unsettling thoughts aside. And the black hood suddenly changed course, running across Chuodori to the other side of the street. There were no crosswalks or traffic signals, so he took Mayuri and darted through the passing cars. Immediately followed suit. Fortunately, there was a break in the traffic. I ran across the opposite sidewalk. But as I stepped onto the guardrail, I heard a roar behind me, the snarling of a car's engines. I can't help but turn around, where I saw Kurisu in the middle of Chuodori, running this way. But a car is coming at her from the side. A white van, violently accelerating, straight toward Kurisu. Kurisu! A white van? What the fuck? Oh.
Ow.
When I came to, I was on top of Kurisu's body. Ugh! I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing? You saved my life.
I guess I did. Right before the car was about to crash into Kurisu, I managed to tackle her and prevent the accident. Because my body had moved unconsciously, it doesn't feel like I did anything to save her.
You idiot. One wrong move and you would have been run over too.
Ugh.
Ugh. Thank you.
Tears in her eyes, Kurisu murmured.
Thank you so much.
She repeated her words of gratitude, trembling with fear. Kurisu bites down on her lip and wipes her tears from the corners of her eyes. I look away uncomfortably and pulled myself to my feet to escape from the emotional situation. Quickly scanned for the black hood, but he is nowhere to be seen. This is bad, really bad. We'll try heading in the direction the black hood was going. Right as I started to move, I saw something at the corner of my eye, something I couldn't overlook. That white van from earlier had smashed into a shop along the road. Perhaps the driver swerved to avoid us, losing control of the vehicle and crashing into the side of the building. We need to chase the black hood ASAP. I know that 100%, but I can't just ignore a situation where someone could have been hurt. God damn it! I shouted with frustration and ran toward the scene with Kurisu.
Pizza Rat?
Pizza Rat?
Are you okay? Is anybody hurt?
Kurisu yells into the building. A voice likely that of an employee responds. We're all right, everyone was in the kitchen. What about the car? That's right, the car. The driver's safe. Are there any passengers? I tried to peek inside the car. A man came crawling out of the broken glass. Recognized his eccentric fashion. This man, who seems to be invoked by the shine, invoked to the shine by Gaia herself, is Shido!
It's Shido. Wait, how do you know me? Were you the one driving? What the fuck do you think?
Honestly, it was hard to believe that he'd even be allowed to drive. Any passengers?
None.
Oh, I'm good. It's your line.
Oh,
Not
so
my
you're the
line.
only one in this vehicle, right? That's what I just said.
What a relief. No one of importance was hurt. Given the clarity and vigor with which Shido was speaking, he must be okay. When I look over 4 degrees Celsius' shoulder at the car, I can see the airbag has been deployed on the driver's side. Shido, I don't like you, but I'd like to make sure. Are you unharmed?
You asshole. What, are you a door-to-door fight salesman?
I'll sell you one for $3 million.
Good deal, you bastard.
He roared in anger and swung his right hand into the air. In it, he held something like a crowbar. Something like a crowbar. In fact, it was a crowbar. Crowbar, get hit, die. After this succession of thoughts bolted in my mind, I strike the wait, no need to be rash pose. And then I speak. Wait, no need to be rash. Shido wasn't rash. He didn't even have the time to be rash. Before he could get rash, someone blew in like a hurricane. Get him!
Shit.
Shido was tackled to the ground and face up. On top of him was a police officer in uniform. What?
Stop. Let me go. Let me go. I told you to let me go, damn it.
Shido persisted still. Despite the cop holding him down, he still squirms around like a little cockroach. Before I knew it, 2, 3, 4, 5 officers were holding him down. Under their combined strength, Shido's movement has been completely contained.
Damn you. I won't forget this. You're gonna pay.
Several officers pick up Shido and begin carrying him away. What? They then shoved him into the cop car that was parked just outside. Well, that was tidy? Unless they're the other cosplayers cosplaying as cops. Cops players. Kurisu and I just looked at each other. Fortunately, an officer approached us and snapped us out of our befuddlement.
Thank you for your cooperation.
It was the officer who first tackled Shido.
What did that guy do to get arrested? He's an infamous coin locker robber, a habitual thief.
So not the part where he ran his car into a building. What a surprise. Not. It does seem like something he would do.
Do you know the coin locker in front of Daibiru? Just earlier, he was carrying out an offense there. We found him while we were patrolling the area. That is to say, we caught him in the act. We obviously tried to arrest him then and there, but he ran into a nearby car and fled. So that's why he was speeding. Yeah, and what caused this mess?
Said the policeman as he pointed to the white van behind him with his thumb. Then I suddenly realized the officer was holding something in his hand. Something wrapped in a white handkerchief. Casually asked about it. Officer was more than happy to sate my curiosity.
Oh, this is what he stole from the coin locker he busted open with the crowbar. May I see it? No. So it's going to be the pocket watch, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go right ahead.
With that, the officer opened his palm and took a look at the item on the white handkerchief in his hand.
A pocket watch?
No, this is no ordinary pocket watch. It's pockety. There's no question about it, this was pockety. Mayuri's treasure. There's no way I could mistake it.
Oh, do you recognize it?
Wait, did Okabe pay Shido 3 million yen to just get the... What?
Shido was stealing it
Yeah.
out of the locker, so Shido is getting in the way. I think this is putting me back on my theory that Okabe is trying to... Future Okabe is trying to coerce himself in the past into getting back Pockety in some way.
I see.
And the plans weren't working.
Yeah, it belongs to a friend.
That's unfortunate. I'd love to return it as thanks for your cooperation, but this is technically evidence, so we need to keep it at the police department. You understand, don't you? By the way, this is broken, isn't it? The glass is cracked. Was it like this before the guy stole it?
No way. Mayuri treasured her Pockety more than anything. She constantly polished it to a mirror sheen.
I see. Then I assume this was due to the crash.
A burning heat boils up from the core of my body. My head began to swim and my indignation began to white out my vision. I raised my head and looked for the police car that Shido was thrown into. The car had already driven off. Damn it, that Shido bastard! Cursing in annoyance, I kicked the nearby white van. Ow.
Okabe, calm down.
Ow. Kurisu grabs my shoulder to calm me, but it doesn't stop my anger. He just destroyed Mayuri's most important treasure. The pocket watch that she selflessly pawned for the future of our laboratory. Oh, wait. Why was that pocket watch inside a coin locker?
Anyway, there's nothing we can do about that 4 degrees Celsius guy, more importantly.
So the pocket watch is the you-know-what.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's find Mayuri in that black hood. Or spot him before taking one more look at the crashed van. Crashed into a pizza delivery place. The cracked plastic sign had said Pizza Rat in large letters. The black hood took Mayuri towards the station. We ran to the front of the station to try to look for them, but
I don't see them.
no surprise there. We lost sight of them 10 minutes ago.
We should split up and search.
I'm sorry.
What for?
I blankly followed the movement of the crowd with my eyes and then spoke. Because I got you mixed up in this, Christina. Then Kurisu placed her hands on her hips.
You didn't get me mixed up. I chose to get involved. Based on what you said earlier, I offered to help in World Line number 1. So I sent a D-mail to my own phone that said Tail Mayuri. Isn't that right? Don't act like everything revolves around you. That's just narcissism. Every event in this world of ours is woven of intricate, intertwined causalities.
Please speak Japanese.
That was Japanese.
Kurisu sighs and continues her thought.
Anyway.
That's a funny recurring gag.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that the recurring gag.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll do whatever it takes to help Mayuri. Because I'm a lab mem and you're sidekick.
Sidekick. Yeah, so it is we were right to she's doing it to help out future Okabe somehow. Okay, so it's Okabe and Kurisu that are behind this to get Pockety back somehow.
Yep.
I'm trying to run through how all this fits together in my head now, but so we're right to be suspicious of her, but turns out it's okay, I guess. Sidekick?
Google it, scum. Alright, I'll call you as soon as I find Mayuri, so you do the same.
Said Kurisu as she disappeared into the crowd of people. Sidekick. I muttered the odd English word in my head once again, then pulled out my cell phone. When I Googled it, there was a number of hits for web dictionaries, so I opened one of them. There, the word was defined as follows. Sidekick. Noun, friend, comrade, partner, assistant. Felt something connect. The closest relationship two people can have. At least I thought I did. Then I started to search for Mayuri in the Black Hood. Scoured through the city of Akiba through and through. I had to have some reason to reuse all these backgrounds, you understand. But in the end, I couldn't find them. One could say that in the end, it didn't even matter. That's when I found myself in front of UPX. Of course, I tried calling Mayuri's cell phone again and again. The only thing I heard was a mechanical voice saying, "The number you have dialed is unavailable." I'm racked with guilt. The plan failed. It backfired even. Even if Kurisu came up with the idea in World Line number 1, I still couldn't cope. In retrospect, letting Mayuri loose and waiting for the perpetrator to show up was a reckless idea. It's not Kurisu's fault. I am to blame. It's all my fault. I held my hand and fell to my knees. When?
Kyoma, I've heard the whole story, nya.
A voice reaches me. When I look up, Ferris was holding her hand out toward me. I don't know what this means, but confused, I take Ferris's hand and stand back up.
I ran into Kunyan earlier, nya.
Kunyan? Who's that?
Makise Kunyan, nya.
Please speak Japanese.
Then Christina, nya.
Oh, my assistant. Hey, hold on. Wait, you mean you know her?
Of course, nya. Kunyan is a regular at Maid Queen plus Nyan squared, nya. Mayushi brought her there in the beginning, though.
Ugh, what a world line.
So Kunyan told me everything.
What do you mean by everything? Ferris ignored my question and just kept going.
Kyoma, this is a conspiracy headed by the organization, yeah? We must swiftly and secretly send a space-time mail, or something else terrible will occur.
What is a space-time mail?
Space-time mail is space-time mail, yeah?
I am going to go out on a limb and assume she's referring to a D-mail here.
As such, I've already contacted Daru, Nyan, and asked him to set up a phone wave, nya. Ferris has already jotted down the content of the space-time mail, nya. Meow. All Kyoma has to do is call Daru and give him the go signal.
Wait. What exactly are you saying here?
Just do as Ferris says, nya.
What is it with everybody and they just go along with it? Don't ask questions this time. Fucking everybody.
Everybody. Everyone. Ferris strikes a kitty punch stance and hisses at me. It wasn't frightening, but I faltered for a different reason.
I told Daru and Nyan to set the destination time of the space-time mail to 3:23 p.m., nya. This will let the two other space-time mails that you should have received persist.
You mean the D-mails or space-time mails that used to say keep my area in and stop summit/use no fire?
Right, nya. If we send the new one before you receive them, they may disappear.
Wait. Did we send those this time?
No.
Look at our phone, can we?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why does she know about those messages?
Why does she know that?
They weren't sent.
Is this all future Kyoma getting his friends to do this somehow?
What the fuck is going on?
I have less of a handle on this than when we started. What the hell?
The use no fire one is especially important to keep the lab from burning down, nya.
Hard to believe, but Ferris seemed to know exactly what was going on.
Now about the recipient, nya. I think we should send it Mayushi this time around.
To Mayuri, why?
To instill a sense of danger in Mayushi, nya. Kyoma and Kyunyan worked hard in this world line, but it didn't work out, nya. That's why we must share the problem with Mayushi, nya, to encourage her to protect herself.
We already tried that in this world line and it didn't work, but fine, I'll hear her out for now.
Lastly, about the content of the space-time mail, nya. You don't think Mayushi would take one step outside, nya? So I decided to send a message that say, stay in the lab, nya.
I'm afraid that's pointless. Ultimately, the black-hooded men will show up at the lab.
I know that already, nya. But isn't it a dream come true, nya?
What?
Kyoma and Kunyan are searching for the Black Hoods right now. Bloodshot eyes and all, right? But if they come to you, doesn't that give you the advantage, nya?
But...
You must fight, Kyoma. You can't give in to fear, nya. Fear is the mind killer. Locking yourself in, chasing them around, these things will never save Mayushi, nya. You were going to confront the Black Hoods in this world line anyway, weren't you, nya? That's why you went out of your way to spy on them.
That's true. Ferris is exactly right. I feel like the world was opening up before my eyes. That's right, I should fight. No, I have no choice but to fight. If we return to Mayuri getting kidnapped or the lab getting burned down no matter what I do, then I have to fight the Black Hoods. As I thought this, I became more and more energized. Let out a noble laugh. That's right, Ferris. I would expect nothing less from the wielder of the Cheshire Break. This was merely the test I had planned for you. I wasn't being indecisive, nor were my spirits dashed. But you knew that, didn't you? Very well. Once more onto the breach. I don't actually know if there are any breaches around here, but fight we shall. Finally, the time has come to unleash this right arm. Into the middle of my wonderful speech.
Oh, hello, Darunyan.
I realized Ferris had, out of nowhere, pulled my phone out of my pocket and started making calls. Hey, Ferris.
Just a minute, nya.
Ferris, Taunton, we're good to go over here.
Daru's giddy voice was so shrill I could hear it from the phone in Ferris's hand.
Then let's get right to it and activate the phone wave, nya.
Okay, I'm counting on the omelet rice you promised me.
I know, nya. I'll make you 100 plates.
Oh, my chest is burning up. All of me wept. Oh, and here comes the electric discharge.
I was anything but prepared for this, but once she heard those words, Ferris looked at me and said,
All right, nya. Go, Kyoma.
Ferris places her thumb on the send button of her own phone. But as she pressed it, I caught a glimpse of the words written on her screen. They said the following. No going out. Lab is safe. Fight Black Hoods.
And click, nya.
So that's how Ferris sends that, but we still don't know why she knows everything.
Yeah, given that those mails weren't sent this time. But we do know she contacts Kurisu.
Yeah, so maybe Kurisu's working with her.
Or Kurisu has just misled her.
Or that,
and told
yeah.
her that things are
I'm still
different than they
suspicious.
are.
I'm still thinking Kurisu's Also, that ghost in the ball doesn't look at all modded to me.
Yeah.
That just looks the same.
It does look the same.
My vision trembles, as does my brain. In spite of the usual dizziness, it was easy enough for me to tell where I was. The Future Gadget Laboratory, the lab's development room, in fact. And in the corner of my room sat Mayuri. She's holding her knees with headphones in her ears. Wait, the timing was done specifically so they could make sure that the Kyoma going through each of the world lines didn't somehow run into himself?
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't think Kyoma has been in a timeline at the same time more than once. I think they've managed.
But then we would have to have something different for that to matter, right? We would have to have physical time travel.
True. Or they're just trying to make sure that they don't. Or there's like a bigger loop going on that they need to make sure they preserve.
It is interesting that specifically everything appears to have been set up to get him back into this very room in this very situation. He escaped it, and then everybody got him right back into it. Why?
Why? What the fuck is happening? God damn it. I love this shit. This is so good. Ah. She's holding her knees with headphones in her ears. She seems to be listening to music on some sort of portable music player. Mayuri's here. Beneath my relief, an idea began to surface. Mayuri is listening to music. That would mean this is world line number 3. I could discern that from the contents of the mail that triggered the reading Steiner this time. No going out. Lab is safe. Fight Black Hoods. So, as my dizziness faded, I took action. First, I run to the common room and check out the window. There's a black SUV, but no black hoods. Of course. So there, standing right outside the door. I swallow and head toward the door. Just make sure I look through the peephole. There they are, as I predicted. The fisheye lens gives everything a surreal, distorted effect, making their already strange appearance look even more bizarre and terrifying. I unconsciously step away and place my hand on my chest to compose myself. You must fight, Kyoma.
You must fight, Kyoma. You can't give in to fear, nya.
Ferris's voice suddenly echoed in my ears. That's right, I have to fight. What are you afraid of, Owen Kyoma? I already know that eventually they'll kick down this door and force their way in. So this time I shall make the first move.
Are these guys the buyer for the sketchbook?
There probably are. And he's going to fight them with the Sialoom saber, and it's going to break
Ruin the sketchbook?
Bring it on! I steal my resolve and unlock the door, and slowly twist the doorknob. From there... Ah! I kick the door into them. Ah! Nah! I look down at my feet. 2 men in black hoods were crouched down, holding their nose and stomach. Odd. My mental simulation, the single blow had a domino effect, sending all 5 of the black hoods tumbling shamefully down the steps. I managed to knock down 2 of them. The 3 are uninjured.
Huh?
Shit. A bead of cold sweat drips down my face. For some reason, silence hangs over us. Couldn't tell through their masks, but it seemed like all 3 of them were struck dumb by my surprise attack. It means it's time for a follow-up attack! Or so I thought before I could take action. The black hood on the far left let out a subwoofer level roar.
Oh, the fuck was that, you piece of shit?
Is that a Kansai dialect? Hiroshino, maybe? Not sure, but that loud, weird voice was loud enough to send shivers down my spine. Guess these guys really are part of some creepy organization. Henceforth, the black hood that screamed will be referred to as number 1. The one standing to his right, number 2, and the one to the right of him, number 3. Black hoods that were knocked down will be 4 and 5. We get a CG for this? Well, I was momentarily shocked. I couldn't let the likes of the noisemaker take me down without a fight. If I were a frill-necked lizard, I would expand my collar and intimidate them. Unfortunately, I am not a frill-necked lizard. My collar does not expand. To make up for this deficiency, I displayed my Form 16 mantis stance, and then I roared. Ow!
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it is working. It is working.
The fuck it is?
In response, I switched from Form 17 flying crane stance, a graceful towering stance with widespread wings resembling the red crown crane found in Kushiro Nature Park. Caw!
You're just fucking with us now, right?
With that, number 1 reached inside his cloak, pulled something out. It was a single longsword. Hey, that's cheating!
Shut up.
Swings at me with a roar. Swiftly dodged his strike by leaping back. Then I tried to strike the wait, no need to be rash pose, but that doesn't seem to work on him.
I like that is the recurring joke
Yep.
as well. Picks a fight. Wait, no need to be rash.
Presses his way inside into the center of the room. And number
It's
2
my
and number
birthday.
3
I'm
follow
a little birthday boy. I'm just a little guy.
Where is Sheena?
Number 1 asks with a deep voice. I respond. Sheena, who are you talking about?
Don't play dumb. Sheena Myrie.
I have no idea. Who is this Myrie?
What I just said.
It was at that moment. Number 2's line of sight was pointed in the direction of the development room. No. So he sensed my worry. Number 1 narrowed his eyes behind his mask and spoke.
There, huh?
Number 1 takes a step forward. What do I do? What can I do? This rate Myrie will be taken away.
You must fight, Kyoma. You can't give in to fear, nya.
Ferris's voice reemerges in my ear. But how do I fight? How do I approach this? My opponent is carrying a long sword. There's no way I can win against a sword unless I have one myself. And I'm in the lab. Where am I supposed to find a Loom Saber sword? Yeah, it's all just fucking... Number 1 has already moved right in front of the development room. He's but a moment away from passing through the curtain. I have no time. There's no time to think. I instinctively rush toward the cardboard box and draw out a sword stashed inside. Take a stance and shout. Okay, there could have been a different way to... There could have been a different way to do that, I feel like. If you were going to have him sunrise pose, maybe like... How careless of you to allow me to arm myself, number 1.
Huh? Who the hell's number 1?
Witness and tremble before the master of the stations on my swordmanship. Here I come. Hee-hee-yah! My attempt was so pathetic I was at a loss for words. I charged and swung at number 1 with my sword, but his long sword easily knocked my blade away, shattering it to pieces. I suppose was to be expected. After all, in my hands... Future gadget number 6, Loom Saber. Couldn't believe I thought I stood a chance against him for a moment. Call it temporary insanity. I was running mainly on instinct when I grabbed the gadget. It's all over, our annihilation ensured. I have no means of retaliation. My entire body is soaked with an unpleasant amount of sweat. On the other hand, number 1 was staring at the red liquid that spilled all over his hands.
Hey, what is this? Did I get cut or something? I don't think so. Looks good to me, bro. So this is fake blood? Wait, the fuck, man? It's all over my cloak and everything. And a long sword, too. You gotta be fucking kidding me. This deadass cost me 98,000 yen at Blade Works.
Yep, it did. Blade works. He is just like the sword I bestowed upon Lukago, the demon sword Samadare. The longsword is artificial? He had it close. The sharp edges of the blade were rounded off slightly. There's another thing I realized. The attack with the Loom Saber wasn't meaningless. It's clear from the way that these guys are freaking out. They really don't like their hoods getting dirty. My intuition told me as much. It's my chance to strike back! I ran toward the cardboard box and grabbed a bundle of Loom Sabers. I handed each saber as a cap. Took off the caps and started to throw them one by one.
Jesus, guy. Hold it up, man. Stop it.
Needless to say, I did it. Okay, it doesn't look better with the... I didn't stop. I didn't let up in my retaliation. Continued to relentlessly carpet bomb them.
Oh, shit. At this rate, we're gonna be all bloodstained. Oh, what's with the worst cloning all day tomorrow, man?
Oh, tell me, Ma. I thought I heard something like that, but I continued unabated. Continued to throw the uncapped Loom Sabers one after another.
Come on, we gotta fall back. Where is that? What? Come on, get the lead out and go.
The three of them tripped over each other as they ran outside. I bet they did. Still hadn't discerned their identities. Chased after them, refusing to let them get away with this. Run down the stairs and come out in front of the CRT workshop. The black SUV had already driven off. See the car get further into the distance. Neither 4 nor 5 were at the entrance, so they must have started the engine and waited. God damn it. I wanted to chase after them, but there's no way I'd be able to catch up to a car. I would have felt my anger could only stand there fuming. And then... Someone spoke behind me. Turned around to see... a black hood! You bastard! Looked at the black hood with fury as I roared.
Whoa, hold on, please.
Shut up, don't say another word. And yet his torso and charged. We tumbled to the ground in a tangle of limbs. By the time we stopped, I was on top of him. Immediately take the mounting position and raise my right arm. Give it up, Black Hood.
I gave up. I've given up already.
No, you haven't given up yet, and even if you have, it's too late. The seal on my right arm has been broken already, and even I am powerless to hold back its rage.
Ah! Somebody, help!
Here it comes. Tremble, right arm of Ryan. I call upon our contract. Issue my command. Engulf thyself in pitch black hellfire. And then suddenly,
Oh, Karin, no.
a voice rained down from above my head. When I look up, Myri was leaning out the window and shouting at me.
Please, Karin, stop. That's Mayushi's friend, I think.
You think? I roughly tear off the man's mask. Underneath was... someone I have never seen before.
I thought so.
Wait, so the man he didn't recognize back from the lockers as well.
Interesting. His name is Nakase Shinichi. He's Fubuki-chan's older brother.
Oh, well, we saw at least that part coming.
Yeah?
Hey everyone, weird mid-episode break here. Just apologizing real quick here. We had to re-record the last, 40 minutes or so of this episode.
Hardware issues.
Hardware
Woo!
issues. Thank you again to our patrons who gave us the funding, so now we can actually do something about this. We greatly appreciate that. Regardless, it does mean that we do know what's going to happen now, so...
So you are no longer getting our unfiltered
You are
raw
no longer
take.
getting our unfiltered reactions. That said, I think you'll still enjoy where the story goes. So...
We sure did.
We sure did. I don't remember what voice I gave the dude, but that's fine.
A kind of annoying one.
Maybe something kind of like this?
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Close
You
enough.
said annoying voice, and that's the first thing that came to my mind. Fubuki's older brother, Nakase Shinichi, is a cosplayer who works at a pawn shop. Through her connection with Fubuki and their mutual interest in cosplay, Mayuri and Shinichi have been close friends for a while. About a month ago, Mayuri came to visit Shinichi. Her purpose to raise money in order to fund for the Future Gadget Magic mod project. Mayuri asked Shinichi for 3 million yen. Needless to say, pawn shops don't lend out money for free.
How much is 3 million yen in USD again? It's a sizable amount
It's
of
a
money.
sizable sum. That's like... What's the rule of thumb, right? Divided by 100?
It's
So like
it's like $23,000.
23,000, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a fair amount of dosh.
That's how much the Magic Mod project cost, huh?
Wow. Well, that's using today's money. This would have been a decade ago. A decade and almost a decade and a half.
Yeah. So I
Fucked up.
guess even worse if we factor in inflation.
Jeez. Well then. It's upon Mayuri offered up Pockety. But despite the retro appeal of the pocket watch, there was no way it would actually be valued at 3 million yen. So Shinichi decided to lie. Oh, this is indeed a beautiful watch you got there. It's definitely worth 3 million, but because it's valued so highly, I'm afraid you're gonna need to wait a little while. Then Shinichi ran to the bank, withdrew 3 million yen from his account, and handed it to Mayuri. In other words, he paid for it with his own money. By the way, Mayuri doesn't know this yet. What's a teenager doing with 23 grand in his savings account?
I don't know. Is he a teenager?
Fubuki's older brother. I guess maybe a young adult. Okay. Still.
Still a
Well
lot
off
of
for
money.
himself. All right. She still thinks she borrowed 3 million from the pawn shop. Mayuri wasn't around when Shinichi told me this. We told her that we need to have a man-to-man conversation, emphasis on the man, and sent her home. But back to the issue at hand. A month passed, leading us to yesterday, August 12th. Mayuri didn't get the 3 million yen from the lottery, but by pawning Pockety. After obtaining this information from Daru, I visited Shinichi's pawn shop with the 3 million yen I had borrowed from Mondo Shinpan. Apparently. I had handed the money to Shinichi and asked him to return the pocket watch. But the pocket watch was not at the pawn shop. Shinichi was holding onto it himself. Shinichi, afraid of being caught in his lie, accepted the money and told me I'll return Shina's pocket watch personally, so please stand down on this matter. I obviously wasn't going to back down after being asked. Seems we argued for 2 or 3 hours after that. But prompted by a certain statement, I eventually returned home empty-handed. Then came today, August 13th. Shinichi was supposed to meet with Mayuri to return the pocket watch. Their meeting time was 4:30, and he waited for Mayuri, but she never showed up. Which isn't a surprise. My past self had kept Mayuri in the lab after reading those 2 emails. He couldn't reach her by phone or email. Her phone was dead, so there was no way to contact her. Normally one would think, I'll just return it tomorrow or the day after, but not Shinichi. Not after I hammered that pocket watch is very important to Mayuri into his head over and over the day before. Shinichi wanted to return the pocket watch today no matter what. That is why he visited the lab. Mayuri had told him before that she was closely involved with the place after all.
So it turns out there hasn't been that much inflation since 2015 in Japan.
Oh, 2015?
Is that when this happens?
Steins Gate?
Yeah, when does this happen?
No, Steins Gate is like 2010? 2009? 2010?
Oh, okay. For some reason, I could have sworn it happened in 2015, and that 2009 or 2010 was the release date of the game.
Really? Let me look that up real quick. What date?
I don't know why I had
Does
2015 in my head.
Steins, not Stibes, Steins Gate take place. Takes place in the Akihabara district of Tokyo on starting on July 28th, 2010.
2010. Okay,
2010.
so 5 extra years. They still haven't had much inflation in that time.
Fair enough.
It's been.
So that's a reasonable estimate.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know why I cared so much to go look up the World Bank inflation stats.
You know
but-
what? It's that kind of commitment to the bit that really marks this channel, I think. Who doesn't love having their Let's Plays of visual novels interrupted at random moments with no forewarning whatsoever?
With inflation factoids.
Inflation factoid. TM. Okay, I'm beginning to understand things. In a nutshell, you came to the lab to return the pocket watch, right? Well, more accurately, I came here with the intent to return it. Is that any different? It's a little different. Uh-huh. Okay, no matter. I'm just gonna go by that without interrogating why that might be. By the way, who were those people, your friends in the black hoods? In fact, why are you all dressed like that? They're my cosplay friends. They're part of a different cosplay circle than my sister Fubuki's. And those costumes are ones Mayuri made for us. We're gonna wear them to Komima the day after tomorrow. Recreating our favorite scene from fucking Code Geass, I guess. I don't remember if it was the one we lost where I explained what that scene is, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's fucking Code Geass. Who cares?
Yep.
I thought as much. Which means I've done wrong by Mayuri. I slightly start to regret throwing all that fake blood over the costumes.
Wait. Does that get sorted out? Or are the costumes just wrecked? Regardless.
I mean, the costumes are fucked. They're gonna need at least a dry clean.
Can you get, like...
I assume that given how big of a market there is for, like, cosplay as a business in Akihabara, that there's gotta be some established ways of, like, washing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can go to, like, stores and buy, like, prefab cosplay stuff.
But does fake blood come out of clothes good?
I don't know. But I'm sure that there's a business that specializes in that. The thing is like getting weird stains out of cosplay seems like a problem that someone has already solved by the year 2010 in Akihabara.
That's true. It just feels like the time loop's resolution here is kind of skipping over the part where Ocarina salted a bunch of guys and ruined all their clothes for a special event tomorrow.
No, it's fine though.
And that bit we're just gonna live with?
It's okay. They feel guilty, so we can get away with it. Of course not, man. So why would you... We're all looking for Sheena before we came here. I called everyone and asked them to help me search for Mayuri. So we decided to split up and search the streets of Akiba, but Akiba's quite a big place. It wasn't going to be easy now, was it? So we decided we'd make it easy for her to find us instead. So, That's why you dressed up so conspicuously. It's so dumb, it's brilliant. Costumes are a little much, but since Sheena made them, we figured she'd spot us in a snap. But in the end, she never found us, so we decided to try the lab. What about that car?
Oh, you saw the guy with the long sword, right? It's his car. He's the kind of guy who gets a little rowdy when he's mad, but I guess you're already aware of that, huh?
Yeah. Above our heads, countless stars were already twinkling. For some reason, the sky looked prettier here than in any of the other world lines. Oh, no, well, whatever. You lost audio for 2 seconds. Deal with it. All right, well, shall I take the, you-know-what back?
You know what?
The pocket watch, of course.
Oh, well, I don't actually have it, bro.
And why don't you have it?
There's a wake I have to attend tonight for a friend of mine, which I'm now gonna have to do in a hood that's covered in blood. I think that's in poor taste. Is it in poor taste to show up to a wake and have your robe already covered in blood?
I offer my sincerest condolences, but what does that have to do with anything?
Sheena didn't come to her meeting spot. I couldn't get a hold of her, so I was convinced that I wouldn't be able to meet with her today. I really wanted to get the pocket watch back to her by the end of the day. I placed it in a locker. Coin locker in front of Daibiru.
Why would you do something like that?
Told you, because I didn't think I could meet her face to face today. If I could, I want to be able to return it to her by the end of the day. I asked myself, how can I do that?
You are kind of a dumbass, you know.
Yeah, I know. I get that. Anyway, that's how I decided to do it.
Shinichi removed his cell phone from his pocket.
Intended to send this text message if we looked for her till the very end and still couldn't find Sheena. Of course, I hadn't sent this yet, but that's how it was saved.
I peeked into the phone screen that was faced toward me. It was written as follows. For Sheena, you know what, in DB locker, number 005. The key is taped to the bottom of the locker. About by now is when you should be groaning. A familiar sentence. There was no way I could forget. This is... Hey, just tell me one thing real quick. What is your cell phone's mail account name?
Oh, why do you ask, man?
Just, please, tell me. Ugh.
It's I chain his snake.
What does that even mean?
Huh?
I'm asking what the account name means, man.
There's no particular meaning, man. It's just an anagram of my name. Nakaze Shinichi. If I rearrange those letters, they become I chain his snake.
I think that probably looked better with monospace
yeah.
fonts.
Yeah.
I felt like I was completely exsanguinated. That's a great word for that. Just, ugh. Dried from my toes up. At the same time I heard, click, sound of things fitting together. These numerous fragments came together and shone in a dazzling flash inside of me. So, that's what it was. At that moment, everything made sense. In a snap, I could see the full picture, the entire sequence of events. And then Kurisu entered the lab. She looked from me to Shinichi and back again with puzzlement.
Who is this?
Long story. Cosplayer. Don't worry about it. Shinichi and I decided to go to the coin lockers in front of Daibiru. There was one thing I wanted to confirm. I told Kurisu to wait at the lab. If my prediction was correct, I would need to send a D-mail. Without anyone at the lab, the phone wave, named subject to change, wouldn't be active. So I asked Kurisu to take that post. Kurisu pressed me for an explanation, but the moment I said, I will tell everyone you go to net cafes, she swiftly fell in line. And here we are. Now, regarding the issue I wanted to confirm, the moment I opened the coin locker came into view, I believed I had my answer. Because the door of the bottom left locker, number 005, was severely deformed. But I still need to check. I peeked inside the locker just in case. Empty. Nothing inside.
It can't be.
Shinichi was quite flustered, but the sight did not surprise me at all. It is an unfortunate turn of events, of course, but It is one I had already anticipated, so the shock isn't as severe for me.
Man, I'm pissed at you for some reason. Probably because of all the blood over my clothes. Before the wake, man. Think about the dead guy.
Would you like me to tell you what happened?
Do you know?
I do. An unsavory man named 4 degrees Celsius forced this locker open with a crowbar. And then he stole the pocket watch inside. He is an infamous coin locker breaker, apparently, in this world line. You get far enough away from Steins Gate and he just starts doing odd jobs. You can measure your distance from Steins Gate based on what Shido is doing in that timeline.
I don't know. In some ways, he's kind of a constant. Whatever he's doing, it always sucks,
Yeah,
and
that's
also
true.
isn't important.
And yet somehow, he gets a Sprite. And Fubuki and Kaede don't.
Yep.
Ah, darn it, I'll never forgive him. How could the police let someone like that run loose?
Well, they did catch him in World Line number 2, so, that got that going for him. But that's probably not possible in this World Line number 3. That pocket watch has probably been sold off somewhere by now. As frustrating as it is, it's hard to deny that in this World Line number 3, the possibility that Mayuri will be reunited with Pockety is incredibly slim. World Line number 2 is similarly frustrating.
Pizza rat.
Pizza Rat!
I want a
Their
pizza.
Pockety is in police custody as a piece of evidence, but will eventually be returned to Mayuri. Unfortunately, that Pockety is in a sorry state. The crash had done a severe damage to it. Thankfully, it spared the outlet shop. In case you needed to buy any outlets. So is there a way to get Pockety back unscathed? There is, but only one. I need to return to World Line number 1. But how? By sending a D-mail, of course. From whose phone? From X's. From Shinichi's phone. Who is the recipient? My cell phone. When will you send it to? I should receive it at 4:03. What's the message? The message that Shinichi showed me earlier, just as is. The D-mail will automatically delete any character after the 36th single byte character, after all. For Sheena, you know what? In DB locker. Number 005. The key is taped to the bottom of the locker. For Sheena, you know what? In DB locker. Number 005. The key is taped to the bottom of the locker. For Sheena, okay, you get it. Well, to be fair, I'm deleting a space before in DB locker to keep the entirety of that last word in the D-mail, but, I feared returning to World Line number 1 because of the risk that Mayuri will go missing. But that's no longer a concern, because I am now aware that Ix is no kidnapper. The answer lies within the D-mail that my sidekick sent. That disturbing mangle of letters. I borrow Shinichi's phone, open up the saved message from earlier, and set the recipient as the phone wave name subject to change. I've already informed Kurisu of my intended time and recipient. All I need to do is call her. However, her cell phone is currently incapacitated due to dropping it in the toilet at the Net Cafe. Which, that's an issue. So I thought I would call the Braun Tube Workshop, but I never saved its number to my phone, because why would you want your landlord's number in your phone? So I dialed 104 and asked to be connected directly. Remember when you could do that?
Can you still? Is that a thing?
I gotta believe that's still a service for publicly listed numbers. I feel like that's still a thing you can do. I just couldn't tell you how one goes about accessing that service anymore. But that was something that I remember I had done at least once in my life. And I bet we were probably the last generation to have any of that.
Yeah.
Hey, Braun Tube Workshop, what can I do you for? I said, due to a complicated turn of events, I need to talk to Kurisu in the lab ASAP. Would you please do me a kind favor and go upstairs to get her for me? To which the owner replied, Why, you think we're still using phones with cords? I'll just leave this phone up there with her for a bit. Hold on a sec. I mean, it's 2010. Cell phones weren't ubiquitous yet, I feel.
I bet they were in...
You know
I
what?
bet they were in Japan.
You know what? You're probably right. It feels weird to say that because it's just a decade ago. But I haven't had a smartphone for more than half a decade at most.
Mm.
Then again, I still feel like I was a late adopter off my flip phone.
Yeah.
Liked that thing though. Make me a smartphone that flips. That's all I want.
This exists.
This sounds like a terrible waste of money, and I want it. He put me on hold where I was greeted with the classic hold waiting music for release, which for some reason did not override the actual BGM. While I waited, I turned my attention to Shinichi. Hey Shinichi, I have 2 things I want to ask. Is that okay?
What's on your mind, bro?
Modular forms and elliptic curves. Infinite...
What?
It's from Ziltoid.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what he says in it, but it...
Okay.
Yeah. If, and this is only hypothetical, if while you were searching for Mayuri, let's say the guy with the longsword was the one to find her, what would he do?
Oh, knowing him, he'd probably drag her along by force and bring her to me.
And then what?
As soon as I saw Mayuri, I'd give her back the watch.
And if you'd already placed it in the locker?
Then I'd bring her to the lockers and...
Okay, but what would you do if the locker looked like this?
That'd be a problem. I'd probably cry and apologize. What else, man? Ultimately, I think I would have accompanied her back to your research facility. The lab, as you call it. Honestly, I feel like I'm about to cry right now, dude.
Said Shinichi as he wiped the end of his eyes with the back of his hand, the one that was not covered in blood. Fur Elise is still playing in contrast to the background music, which is certainly a decision you can make in your visual novel. Without taking the phone away from my ear, I asked the next question. Secondly, yesterday when I went to the pawn shop, you said you managed to satisfy me by making a certain statement, yes? So what was that certain statement? When asked, Shinichi looked up at the night sky, stretched out his arm and formed a fist as if he was trying to grab the stars, and then he responded,
I said I am in love with Sheena. Which is why I insisted on handing back the pocket watch myself.
Hey...
Oh, hello? Okabe, it's me.
Oh, thank God, assistant. Help, I talked myself into a corner and I don't know what to do.
I can put on Fur Elise for you. That
No,
might help.
Anything but...
Hello? Hello?
Wait, could you put on the Moonlight Sonata? I hear you.
Then say something, I swear. You wouldn't believe how mad the owner was when he saw the condition of the lab.
Don't worry, it's not my blood.
I did clean up the Siloom saber pieces, but those blood stains. Those stains are gonna take a while, so I let them be for now.
Bad news about your wake, bro.
I have to go return this cordless phone after activating the phone wave, too. That's gonna be really awkward.
I inadvertently looked down at my body. My clothes are covered with stains from the fake blood and my hands are all red. I must have gotten covered when I jumped on Shinichi.
Oh, right. I forgot to tell you one important thing. Everything's set up and ready to go on the phone wave. All I need to do is activate it.
Excellent.
Hey, is everything okay? Did something happen?
Nothing. I'm fine. And let's go. Phone wave. Name subject to change. Activate.
Roger.
It's not my name. Shortly after, I can hear the sound of sparks through the phone.
Electrical discharge confirmed.
You might want to get that checked out by a doctor. Prompted by those words, I take Shinichi's phone and press send. Yeet. I do believe that is what they say.
Indeed.
Yeetus deletus. When the dizziness faded, Kurusu was standing in front of me. But I didn't have time to explain. Kurusu, there's no time to explain. Without saying anything, I rushed to the locker in the bottom left corner, stuck my hand underneath it. I feel something hard against my fingertips. It was affixed to the bottom of the locker with a piece of tape. I peel it off and take a look at what I found. Sure enough, it was the key to the locker. Which is, you know, we could have all seen this coming. That's fine. The number 005 is engraved upon it. Yes!
Wait, what's going on?
I'll tell you about it later. For now, just watch. Leaving the flummoxed Kurusu aside, I did what I had to do. I insert the key to the locker number 005 and twist it. It unlocked with a nice metallic snap. I take a few deep breaths and close my eyes. Please be there. With that wish in my heart, I take a hold of the locker door and open it. And inside, there was the pocket watch. Mayuri's most precious treasure, Pockety. That is a really elaborate pocket watch, actually.
The gears pattern or whatever on it?
Yeah, there's like a
something.
smaller clock on it. Oh, I would buy a prop of that, actually. That's a really cool pocket. I would absolutely buy a prop watch of that. And of course, Pockety was completely unscathed. Sparkling clean too, just like the way it should be. Did you see that, Shido? Such is the might of my all-seeing eye. Once I launch my beautiful tenor voice toward outer space, I take Pockety out of the locker and put it in my pocket. As you have likely discerned by now, the reason why Pockety was left unharmed in World Line number 1 was because Kurusu and I maintained our vigil in front of the lockers. As a result, Shido couldn't do his job and break into the locker. Come, let us go, Christina.
Go where?
To our base. The lab, of course.
What about Ix?
Ix is no kidnapper. He is just a pawn shop working cosplayer. In other words, he's a cosplaying pawn shop worker.
Is there a difference? And what about Mayuri?
Don't worry about Myri. All of the crimes have been solved. Or perhaps I should say that what we thought were crimes were non-criminal from the very beginning.
Huh?
And let us just go at Channel Chris. We must report back to the lab.
Stop calling me that.
Oh, never. You enjoy it. Admit it, if I stopped calling you an assistant one day, you would be alarmed.
Yeah, I that would put the fear in me.
And with that, all of the mysteries are solved, my friends. What do you think, everyone?
I still have no idea what's going on.
Deets, please.
Fine, then I shall enlighten you. It all began at 3:18 when a Mayuri's cell phone retrieved a single D-mail. In other words, the answer to everything is hidden within Mayuri's cell phone. Here. But unfortunately, this phone's battery is dead. We cannot read what is in the mailbox right now. Daru, there should be one of my chargers back there. Can you get it?
But I refuse.
I'm literally asking you to move 2 feet to grab something for me. Now is not the time to refuse.
Here you go.
Wait, that's all it took? Were you just being obstinate for the meme?
Yes.
Said Taro as he tossed the charger over to me. After catching it, I connected it to Mayuri's phone and stuck the power plug into the wall outlet. Since Mayuri and my phones are from the same company, we can use the same chargers. And that should do it.
So hurry up and show us the D-mail.
Not so fast, Christina. No need to rush. Everything has an order to it, just as Yamamura-sensei says.
Who?
It doesn't matter. I won't talk for much longer, so please listen. The D-mail in question had 2 mysteries. 1, its content. 2, the other, its sender. I'll talk about the sender first. I'll cut to the chase. The one who sent this D-mail is none other than you, Christina. Why am I pointing? No one can see me do that.
Method acting.
I guess.
Why do you say it like you're accusing me of a crime? Besides, I never sent any D-mail.
Yes, you did. In world line number 3, that is. And the account name you used to send it was Sidekick257.
Sidekick257? But that name was in Mayuri's cell phone.
Yes, I've told you over and over that's where you sent the D-mail.
Oh, okay. So that was the D-mail that was sent on 15/18.
Yes, the very same. Kurisu and I saw the D-mail together while here in world line number 1. That's why Kurisu knows the contents.
Feeling a little left out over here, guys.
Well, maybe you should try getting more involved, Daru. Don't worry, Daru. It seems Christina's having some trouble following the story as well.
Now you're just pissing me off.
That is my purpose for being. Anyway, back to business. I want to talk about the account name. Christina, what does sidekick mean in English?
Like friend, comrade, partner, assistant.
Mm-hmm. And what are you in relation to me, Christina?
A complete stranger?
I still like her little wink when she says that. My assistant, open your eyes, world line number 1, Christina. You thought so in world line number 3, at least, right? If not, you wouldn't name your account Sidekick now, would you?
Your logic seems totally backwards here.
You mean to say that Sidekick257 is not your account?
I didn't say that.
Uh-huh. Then I ask, when is your birthday?
July 25th.
Uh-huh. And break that down into numbers for me, days first, if you would.
257. But I don't have any accounts by that name.
Of course, because this is a disposable email the world line number 3 assistant created at a net cafe.
Net cafe. Maki say she, you go to net cafes. I would never.
Why lie? Going to a net cafe is hardly shameful.
For real, I see normies, mainstream women, and pretty boys there all the time.
Are those the three genders, Daru?
Of course.
What gender are you?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would? What gender am I? Christina, assistant, what? Get us on this real quick. We must do an experiment to determine my gender. I think we can safely rule out pretty boy. After Daru's explanation, Kurisu started twirling her hair with her fingers and said,
Well, I might have gone.
Uh-huh. No might about it. You told me yourself back in World Line number 3. Isn't it amazing how I can bluff my way into knowing anything, and as long as I just say, World Lines, no one will question me? Anyway, back to the disposable account. When exactly did my assistant create it? I imagine it happened during the 3 minutes she had me wait. In World Line number 3, Kurisu told me to wait for 3 minutes before setting the phone wave name subject to changes, timer, and activating it. Then she hung up on me. Because she called me from a public phone, perhaps she immediately went back to her booth, got on the computer, and proceeded to create the disposable account. Within 3 minutes, the account was made. Kurisu then wrote the D-mail and sent it to the phone wave name subject to change with delayed send function. This is not a feat an ordinary person could achieve, but considering @Channeler Chris's skills, it may be feasible. One cannot forget that Kurisu is a prodigy, who at the age of 17 had her work published in a major science magazine. What the fuck she is doing here with us randos is anyone's guess. Especially in this world line where, like, how did we meet?
But why did she need to go out of her way to send it from a PC?
World line number 3's assistant had broken her phone, apparently by dropping it in a toilet at the net cafe.
Oof.
Yep. Anyway, my assistant made me another peculiar move during all this. She initially instructed to set my cell phone as the D-mail's recipient, but after the electric discharge had begun, she called me to tell me to switch it to Mayuri's phone instead. This is closely tied to the reason why the D-mail was encrypted.
It was encrypted?
Indeed! But not digitally, no. This is a very analog form of encryption. It was worded in a way that only a select few would understand. Why did she do that, you ask? Because she initially intended to send it to my phone. This D-mail, like many others, contained a word of instruction telling me to do something. If I received the D-mail as originally intended, I probably would have carried out the instructions of the D-mail without fail. I am suggestible like that. But what if I was caught by an enemy after I had done so? My phone would have been taken, and my foe would check my inbox, learning immediately what I had done, which would defeat the purpose of sending a D-mail in the first place.
Now I want an arc where someone just spoofs message headers.
From Okabe's phone, and uses his willingness to believe his future self in order to...
Yeah, just sends stuff that has spoofed timestamps, and he just rolls with it because he's primed to believe that.
Oh, so my World Line number 3 assistant decided to encrypt the message.
In other words, by making the message something only you could read, she eliminated the possibility of an enemy finding out whatever you'd been instructed to do.
That is exactly correct, Christina.
So, why change the recipient to Mayushi?
Simple. By sending it to Mayuri, she can all but ensure that her word of instruction wouldn't be leaked, even if she hadn't bothered with something as time-consuming as encryption. World Line number 3 assistant realized this after she had readied her message to be sent on delay. That's why she rushed to call me and have me switch the recipient to Mayuri. Well then,
now that all that's out of the way, can you tell us what the D-mail says?
But of course. I sent it, powered on Mayuri's phone, and opened the inbox. Proceeded to display the encrypted messages in order, primarily for Daru's sake, because Kurisu had seen them once before. So these were the messages that did go past us too quickly for us to do anything about earlier.
Yep.
And yeah, it is pretty easy to figure out what they are. But again, the game doesn't give you enough time to linger on them to figure it out before it cycles through them when it shows you the first time, so
Yep.
that's just how it be. This is the encrypted message that was sent to me, and needless to say, I must know how to decipher it. And similarly, my assistant who wrote this message must also know. So, with what method do we decrypt it? What cipher do my assistant and I share? You're right, yield dipshit. Am I wrong though?
That's what the message says.
That's what the message says. I don't know what to go from there, but I didn't write it. It didn't dawn on me until Daru had told me something in world line number 2.
I did? Was it something erotic?
You know it. I mean, it definitely wasn't erotic, Daru. I like how Daru was both really obstinate and also perfectly willing to just flirt with Okabe for whatever reason.
By the way, it was Makiseishi who found this post. You really don't remember, Okarin? I showed you this at-chan post last night, too. You read it properly then. What? So, what does that mean?
You don't get it? I had to read it vertically.
Oh, you just gotta stack the 3 messages like a sandwich.
Exactly like a sandwich. Now I'm hungry for a sandwich.
We just had sandwiches.
What? Did we in this world line? I don't recall. I'll get another one. Mayuri will be kidnapped. Hide
In Ghost.
in Ghost. And again, another thing that probably would have been better with a monospaced font.
Yep.
Then all you have to do is read it vertically from the left, letter by letter, and then it becomes this. Mayuri will be kidnapped! Exclamation point! Hide in Ghost.
Mayuri
Will be kidnapped.
hide in Ghost?
I give them a small nod and speak. Receiving this email at 3:18, Mayuri must have immediately... Well, maybe not immediately, but she must have informed me that she received a suspicious message. Mayuri and I were here at the lab at the time, after all. Knowing her, she'd probably say... she'd probably say something like, Hey, Okarin, I got some weird email, and then show me her phone. And then after decrypting the message, I proceeded to carry out the instructions.
But that'd mean Mayuri was...
Yes, she was in here in this lab the entire time. You thought that detail about us upgrading the ghost in the ball was a joke. No. I also like the idea that there's enough resolution on those screens to be like, to fool them. But whatever. I walked toward the corner of the room and pulled the charger cable from the wall.
Future Gadget number 7, Ghost in the Ball, Demonized Edition version 1.24 is upon us.
Demonized Edition?
After we magic modded it, we had to give it a cooler name.
I see.
Hey, more importantly, is Mayuri really inside?
Let's open it up and find out. Hey, Daru, how do you open it?
You just lift it up.
As instructed, I lifted up Ghost in the Ball. And there was Mayuri. Was she getting enough air in here? Do we need to, did we ventilate it? That wasn't a concern when designing it, right? I don't think we would have foreseen that usage case. Mayuri lay on a comforter on the floor, curled up like a cat. She is sound asleep.
Really? That was anticlimactic?
What was the point of all that worrying?
But she seems so at ease.
Like a child that fell asleep inside a closet while playing hide and seek.
At any rate, well done, Okabe.
Yes, well done, Okabe. That one word was all I had left in me. If I tried for a second, it would have loosed tears from my eyes. For a while, we just silently looked at Mayuri's sleeping face. And while I listened to her sleeping breath, I found myself wondering, why didn't I hide Mayuri inside Ghost in the Ball in World Line 2 or 3? The encrypted likely D-mail would have reached Mayuri's phone at 3:18 in both of them. So why didn't I follow the instructions? The following is merely my hypothesis, so I may very well be mistaken. But perhaps both World Line number 2 and 3 play out like so. First, Mayuri receives the D-mail at 3:18 p.m. Then Mayuri with a puzzled and several tried to work out the garbled message on her own, putting all of her intelligence to the task. But during this time, in both World Line 2 and 3, I received the Keep Mayuri in to stop kidnapping D-mail. That would be at 3:20, just 2 minutes after Mayuri receives the encrypted D-mail. Seeing this D-mail, I likely found myself so caught up in the imminent threat that I didn't give Mayuri the chance to say a word about her D-mail. And on Mayuri's part... Listen, Mayuri, you are to under no circumstances leave this place. Stay in the lab, got it? Imagine after hearing my stark warning and seeing the fire in my eyes, she found it difficult to bring up a strange, seemingly unrelated message. 4 minutes later, at 3:24, I receive a phone call from Kurusu in World Line number 2. Of course, the call was in regard to the D-mail that she received, which said, Tell Mayuri, perpetrator must be caught. In World Line number 3, on the other hand, at 3:22, I received the Stop Summit, Use No Fire, Lab will Burn D-mail. which is shortly followed by Mayuri receiving the "No going out, lab is safe, fight black hoods" D-mail at 3:26. These consecutive D-mails must have thrown the lab into chaos, costing Mayuri the opportunity to tell me about the first message she received. But these D-mails are limited to their respective world lines. In this world line number 1, there never was a situation where we received multiple D-mails consecutively, so Mayuri probably had more leeway to approach me.
Hey, Ocarine, I got a weird message.
I also wouldn't have been in a panic, so I'd be able to focus on decrypting the message, and therefore, this is the result. That's why I didn't hide Mayuri in World Line 2 or 3. Though maybe it's more accurate to say that those 2 world lines were produced because I didn't hide Mayuri. And while I was thinking about all of that, Mayuri began to stir and slowly opened her eyes.
Stir.
Hello there, tiny gremlin. From what planet do you hail?
What's going on? Why is everybody...
That is a fantastic question that we do not have time to get into. The 3 of us looked at each other and grinned.
Toot-toot-oo, Mayushi's here.
Excellent. I trust you've gone through customs. What's with that soulless tutoroo?
Well, I just woke up. Okabe, what about...
Oh, that's right. I pull you-know-what out of my pocket, place it in Mayuri's palms, and close her hands over it. Mayuri seems puzzled.
Huh? It's Pockety. You got Pockety back.
Then she jumped up to her feet.
But how could this be?
It fell from the sky.
Really?
It did. It was lucky I was there to catch it, because otherwise it would have shattered, and I don't think any watchmaker in Japan could have dealt with it.
I'm kind of confused, but Mayushi is really happy. Thank you, Ocarine. Thocarine. Thankarine. There we go.
Well, one of those. Mayuri gently placed his pocket against her ear. She looked enchanted as she listened to it tick.
Hey, by the way, Mayushi, were you really inside?
Oh, shit, sorry. The ghost the whole time.
The ghost the whole time?
Yeah, why do you ask? We were all worried you'd gone missing somewhere. Gone missing? No way I'd go missing. Mayushi will always be here. I have to be here. Because Mayushi is Ocarine's hostage. I'll always be here and never get murdered or kidnapped. That's not a thing that would occur.
I am so glad that we are here on World Line number 4, where the most we deal with is, I guess, the lab went on fire that one time.
Which, to be fair, problem. Not great.
No, and there was our confirmation that indeed the artists listed were, in that one scene, were artists that worked on this game and other Steins Adventure stuff. Heck yeah. I you know what? I still enjoyed this one. I gotta say, of all the ones in the game, I feel like this is one of the stronger ones.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of the stronger stories. I feel like you were the one that brought this up last time, but they're kind of like, the stories fall into like 2 really big camps, right? There's ones that are kind of like expounding or retelling parts of the game, kind of like building off of things that are already there, and some that just take the setting and fucking run with it.
Yep.
And I think the ones that kind of run with it and do their own thing tend to be the ones that we find more enjoyable. That was really good, and we got a credit sequence for it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We know it's not the final one anymore. But I was confused at first because it looked like the final one. We got a big credit sequence, but we haven't gotten 100% on CGs yet.
We have not.
We have not hit the 100% CG achievement yet. And you know the only one we haven't had a story from yet. There's only
Shido.
one. There's only it's Shido. It's Shido. It's absolutely Shido. Then the final arc is Shido. No. It's Nyark.
Nice.
Finally, everyone's favorite future fighting game champion turned astrophysicist, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if she actually does, like, works at JAXA in like a scientific capacity or in like a administrative capacity.
Yeah, come to think of it, what does she actually do there? I don't feel like I picked that up.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now, and I don't remember what it is to salvage it. This comes from Robotic Notes, by the way. It's not really a spoiler or anything. She shows up really early, and she's a recurring character in it, so. Woo. But yeah, we know she goes on to work for Jax at least, so. At least in the canonical world line. The world line where all the other science adventure games happen. I think there's a world line where just like the Tanegashima Robot Club just doesn't happen that year. Rip, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Kaneko Ito, for playing us out. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, sorry for having to re-record the back part here.
And yet, there's more.
What? Who could have ever seen that coming?
Ocarine, it sounds like we have a visitor.
Who could it be at this? Who could it be now at this hour? I headed toward the door and slowly opened it.
And what?
And slopened it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And who should appear but Kiryu Moeka?
Have we met before?
I desperately checked the time. 7:53. It wasn't exact, but it was close to the time that the Rounders raid our lab. So wait, it implies that the Okabe in this timeline, it did exist in one of the world lines that between 0 and 1 before reaching Steins Gate, but then kept fucking with stuff to get all the way up to 4?
Yeah, and I guess the one that he ended up on here turned out pretty fine.
I guess, yeah. No, not now. I can't breathe. I was frozen, unable to move a muscle. And then Daro came up from behind me.
Oh, you're the Tabok lady.
Yes.
The one working at the publishing company.
An editorial company. It's called Arc Rewrite.
Moeka's using full sentences. Is this not the shining finger that I know?
I know we scheduled for an 8 o'clock pickup. Am I too early?
No, that's not it, but,
Then, can I have you know what?
yeah, about that,
Daru cast a glance toward the corner of the room. When I followed his line of sight, I saw it. Soaked in Dr. P. The thing I spelled Dr. P all over, that someone bought for over 3 million yen. No, what they were supposed to buy for 3 million yen.
Poor Madoka.
No, not the Skeb. Oh, poor It really does look like Madoka, doesn't it?
Yeah, cause it is Umeaoki.
It is the correct artist.
Oh, that's too bad in this condition. Well, you know.
yeah.
Sorry to have bothered you. I'll be going now.
I like your ska belt.
Thank you.
Suddenly, my petrification
up.
was lifted. Wait, what?
Pick it up.
Right as Moeka disappeared, I turned around and headed straight for the development room.
Wait, Okabe, what are you trying to do?
Kurisu asked as she chased after me. She has a look of concern on her face, which probably means that this was a rhetorical question.
You're joking, right?
I stood in front of the X68000. Only one remains unsettled. My 3 million yen debt.
I told you won't need to pay that back.
Were it so easy. If I don't, I'm going to end up in the depths of Tokyo Bay for sure. I can only think of 2 ways to earn that money. One is to win a grand prize at the Akiba Invention Contest. And the other is to return to the past and prevent myself from spilling Dr. P all over this sketchbook.
Then, which will you choose?
How foolish of you to ask, Christina. Which will I choose? That's not for me to decide. I leave my fate to the will of Steins Gate. Hey,
That
that rhymed.
rhymes.
Hell, sigh, Congaroo. That was a good time had by all.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yay. Yay. And yeah, there's going to be more. Of course, there's going to be more.
Yep.
One
more.
One more. And that last one is Lunar Bifrost. Now, this one does take place within the narrow band, within the band of of world lines that would have taken that could be during the first game. Or, I don't know if this is exactly one for the first game, but first one goes from 0 point something to 1. So this isn't that far off, which means that Nye's dad is around her. And there is at least one world line in there, remember, where Nye goes all murderous.
Is this that one? That'd be cool.
I wonder if this is that one. Because in the game, like, the only people to ever use the time leap machine to go back were Okabe, Luca in her ending, and Nye. So, let's see if we get murdered. It'll be a good time. We'll see you there, everyone. Bye.
Peace.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.